Hey out there! Remember, everyone who supported me on Patreon got to see this figure a couple days in advance. If you want to join them, you can donate as little as $1. Links in the description below. Hey out there, this is Wake Angel 2001, and I'm gonna go off on a couple of digressions. First of all, did you know that Dr. Robotnik, or Dr. Eggman, is actually the only character who consistently seems to have families in almost all of the Sonic the Hedgehog continuities? In the video games, the only one that has any kind of on-screen family is Cream the Rabbit, who has a mother. And Sonic has had family in one of the cartoons and in the comic book, but really that's about it. Almost nobody has any kind of real on-screen parentage outside of the 24-year Archie comic, and that's kind of how after 24 years of constant storytelling, it kind of gets weird if you don't have a family of any kind. But Dr. Robotnik, he's had a family introduced ever since the beginning. Way back in the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, which is the first instance of him having any kind of family, we got to meet his mom. She had a big, ridiculous mustache like him, and oh god, she's a bit of nightmare fuel, but she was a pretty funny character. And he even built himself a robot son in an episode, Robotnik Jr., and he was indeed a recurring character. He actually went through his teen rebellion phase by turning into a good guy. And yes, he hooked up with Breezy the Hedgehog, who, remember in that cartoon, was also a robot that built by Dr. Robotnik. The Saturday morning cartoon was pretty upfront with Robotnik having a family, as Snively was his nephew. And that version of Robotnik would even get more family in the comic book, as his extended family, I guess the rest of the Kintobor clan, would they went on this whole big interstellar journey only to return to Earth when they couldn't find a new planet to inhabit. They died. I'm pretty sure Eggman killed them. But one of the characters, Hope, I guess technically a cousin or niece of that Dr. Eggman? Yeah, probably a niece, his brother's daughter. She would survive and even kind of become a fourth member of Team Dark in the comic, which is pretty fun. Of course, I can't really talk about relatives of Dr. Eggman that went into space without bringing up the only family that he had in the video games properly. That, of course, being Dr. Gerald Robotnik and Maria. Gerald being his grandfather and Maria being his cousin. And and then in Sonic Boom, he even has some family. First of all, Mombot, as we all know. He built himself a robotic mother, who thankfully is not as terrifying as the Adventurer's mother. And, of course, there is his sort of brother, Morpho, aka Steve Eggman. So, yeah, it's kind of funny how, in most continuities, Eggman, of all people, is actually the one that has the most fleshed out family. I just kind of find that weird. I mean, compared to Sonic, I mean, in the original Saturday morning cartoon, you have his Uncle Chuck. Then the comic book added his parents, Bernadette and Jules Hedgehog. And then in the Sonic Underground cartoon, you have his mother in that continuity, Queen Alina, and then his brother and sister, Manic and Sonya. And that's about it. That's his parentage and his siblings. And then, of course, there's the 25 and 30 years later arc where he has a couple of children named Manic and Sonya. Really, there are so many more family members of Dr. Eggman than there are of Sonic. It's kind of funny. And now for a quick science lesson on pareidolia and how it affects the Sonic community. By now, everybody has probably seen that image of Mario's face in Marble Zone from the very first Sonic game. I always kind of figured that it was supposed to be like two lions, climbing up against a pole, but once somebody suggests Mario's face, you really can't not see it. We also have a tendency to anthropomorphize and make new characters out of just whatever weird things we see in the sprites, like how Sonic could get his colors messed up when you transformed him behind a waterfall in the Sonic 2 debug mode, creating the pseudo-character Ashura the Hedgehog. So it's a combination of this weird interpretation of sprite art and pareidolia that leads to the creation of this video. That, of course, is the little girl seen in the spider mech from the Flying Battery Zone boss in Sonic Mania. Yeah, some dude on Twitter. What was his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's Alpha Gamboa. Yeah, Mr. Alpha Gamboa. He kind of stumbled across this, and then he said that once he saw it, he just couldn't not see it, and he had to like kind of draw what the character would look like in his head, and thus became the character that Twitter immediately took a loving to. Because let's just show a quick little fan art montage here as I talk over it. It's just Eggman's favorite little niece now. She's been given many names: Yoki Doki, Eggette, Doctor Ovoid. Uh, uh, um, I think most the fandom seems to have congealed around Omelette, though, little Omelette Robotnik, and everybody just like, seems to love this little thing. And quite frankly, for a game that's literally been out for 2 weeks to already spawn something to this degree, I have to admit I immediately had to jump on the bandwagon because. Come on, this is just look at how cute she is. Even in this scary Sad AM version of her, it's just freaking adorable. It has to be made. This needs to be a toy. So here we go. I'm never gonna make any Sonic EXE creepypasta crap, but this I will immediately glom onto. All right, 6 minutes 45 seconds in. That has to be some kind of record. Let's get to finally making the toy. I had a random Mega Bloks minifigure, made mostly out of leftover bits, actually. A pair of shoes, left over from a Slugterra Eli figure. I think I used the Eli to make maybe that Riala figure, and I had to cut the feet off or something. And half of a DC Heroics ball. Remember Heroics? I doubt you do, because it was just a short-lived minifigure toy line that came in these little ball things. So I cut off the feet of the Mega Bloks figure and stuck them onto the Eli feet. After I cut off a little bit of the Eli feet, just to get them the right length, and I needed the legs to be pretty good length. And then they're painted black with white soles because, they're kind of like Dr. Eggman's pants. The cool thing about Eggette, or Agatha, as some call her, Little Omelette, she wears a dress which is basically a star bumper. That is adorable. I love it. It's a little bell dress that's made to look like a star bumper, like the ones that you find in Spring Yard Zone or whatever. It's just such a fitting little thing. I could so see a little girl in the Sonic universe wearing something like that. Yeah, I just had to paint the dome, drill a hole in the top big enough for the stem from the minifigure to go through it, and there you go. The arms are actually, the arms are pretty cool. I took the hands off of a classic Amy figure, and then I cut the fingers off of the hands that the Mega Bloks figure had. Then I stuck the Amy hands onto the stumps of the hands, and that gave me functioning wrist joints for this figure. So she has universal shoulders, universal elbows, and wrist joints, which actually gives her articulation on par with anything made by Jazzwares, which I really do love these Mega Bloks minifigures. They just make such excellent bases. So yeah, the torso is just a random torso. It's repainted. It's not like I had to sculpt boobs or anything. It's a little girl. The head is pretty much completely sculpted. There is a Mega Bloks head inside of there, but just for using the ball joint. At first, I just made a round little bald head so that I could, I wouldn't have to worry about the face details messing up as I sculpted on her hair. Which is just a whole bunch of hair points and a cute little hairband that kind of looks a bit like a tiara. Here's a picture of her face taken upside down, revealing that, yes, when you turn her face upside down, she does look like Dr. Eggman. Thus, the illusion is complete. And there is the completed Little Omelette figure. Good old tiny Agatha. Oh my god, she's just so adorable. This is really just one of the great things about the Sonic fandom that like just something universally positive. I mean, people are always saying negative things about Twitter. They're always saying negative things about the fandom, but every now and then, just the planets will align and something just as wonderful as this will pop up out of the ether. Yes, I just, he's just so cute. I expected this thing is gonna become like a little staple of the fandom. She's gonna become our new little mascot for quite a while. I wouldn't be surprised if love for this character actually leads Sega to try and implement something like it in a future game. Like maybe a little girl, like they like maybe Dr. Robotnik can build himself a little niece in the future, like a little Eggman Robo daughter thing he's got going on. Oh boy. Anyway, thank you Twitter. Thank you for creating this adorable little thing. And this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.